So today we're going to make a drawing, and you can make this into a card. So you can fold the paper like this, or it opens like this. Inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe and her flowers. Our main thing is that we're going to be working on blending. So pause to fold your paper, or you can just do it flat. That's up to you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my card opens at the bottom and that the fold is on the top. That way it is wide and the fold is my top of my card. Now you can find a circle or you can draw one, but on the bottom left, not touching the bottom or the side, you're going to make a circle, which is a shape. After that, we're going to make lines coming out of the circle, kind of like a sun. You want them spaced kind of wide, maybe an inch in between each one, like that. They don't have to be perfect. They also should be about an inch long. After that, we're going to make these into petals. So from one end line to the other, you're going to make a upside down U that connects them, like an arching rainbow. Find where that other one would have stopped, go to the next one. This way our petals are together. If you want to, you can just keep your pencil on the paper instead of lifting it, so that way you don't lose your space. That might be a good way to do that. So keep going until you reach the end of the paper. If you have one that doesn't quite fill in the paper, just pretend like there's more paper and draw it with a similar arch. There's one flower kind of peeking out from the bottom. For this flower, we're going to start with a circle, but we're only going to do part of a circle. So you're going to do a curve in the corner like that. Draw a few lines coming out from it, like a sun coming out from the corner. And I want to think about not having too much space in between my flowers. So I'm going to make my arches tall enough to almost reach my other flower, but not touch it. I'm going to continue making the other petals. If you need to, you can put a scrap piece of paper under it so that you could do the petals that go off the page, but you should have ones that do go off the page. Now remember, if your flower does not look exactly like mine, that is okay. Our art should be unique, because if our art was all the same, then art would be kind of boring. So I hope yours actually looks a little different. If you do have a lot of space though, I do want you to try to add flowers in the spaces. Now, I have my crayons in a rainbow order because I'm going to show you how you're going to use colors and kind of blend them together. I have pink on the side because pink is going to bridge in between my red and my purple. You can use any color you want as long as you follow the rule of using colors that are next to each other. So I'm going to start with a color, and I'm going to color up and down on the petal on the bottom half. My edge is going to be kind of jagged. Up and down, up and down. I'm going to choose a color next to it, so I'm going to choose that red. Or I could choose the purple. I'm going to choose red for this one. And I'm going to color the top half up and down, overlapping the pink, but not going all the way into it. What I'm doing is I'm going to work on blending these colors together in that small middle section. But the top half should be my reddish color only, and the bottom half should be my pinkish color, and only in the middle will they overlap. I'm going to take my darker color and I'm going to outline my petal. And sometimes I'll have to go back with the other color in the middle and go up and down to try to blend those colors together, or at least have an area where they transition. Now see how my red's staying in my red area, the pink staying in my pink area, but in the middle, they're kind of blending together. So if you want to, you can do the same colors all the way around, or you can change up your colors. Just remember, the colors should be kind of near each other. And the reason is because colors that are next to each other, which is actually called analogous, they blend a little better together, or they make a nice color that's in the middle. So I'm going to choose purple and blue for my next one. Honestly, don't know which one's the lighter one here. I'm going to color the bottom half up and down, only the bottom half with the blue. Now across the bottom, I might have to go another direction, but definitely in the middle, it should be pointy like that. I'm going to color the top half up and down, overlapping the blue just a little bit, not going all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to color that in. Color again with the blue to try to blend them. These are both kind of dark, so I'll just use the purple to outline my petal. Now, if you do colors that are not next to each other on the color wheel, it's not the end of the world, but the ones that are next to each other, like I said, are going to blend the best. And if you blend opposites, like if you blended green and red together, they might make a brown in the middle. If you're using color pencils, this works the same way. If you're using markers, they won't blend so it looks like a smooth transition, but you might have a cool color or an interesting color that's in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to do blue and purple. And I know I skipped a lot of crayons, but it's still a blue and a purple, even though there was some in between. And this worked kind of nicely. Once again, my blue doesn't go to the top, my purple doesn't go to the bottom, and in between I have to kind of pick up my crayons more than once to go back and forth and blend. That's a nice color in the middle. So I'm going to keep coloring. You can see my color combinations. If you want to, you can use these combinations, but like I said, you can use your own as long as they are close to each other on the color wheel or close to each other in your line of rainbow. It is up to you what color combination you want to use. Now, right now I've only been doing the petals that are whole petals. When you do the ones that are portions of petals, you're going to treat them once again like they do have tops, but you can't see them. So it's not going to be like two colors squished into those tiny areas. It's going to be probably just one color or like one color and a tiny bit of the second color. Once again, if you want to use a scrap paper to kind of draw what the rest of it would look like, that might be a good idea. So you can kind of not have to just imagine the color and where it might stop and start. So for mine, you can see that I'm just going to do a color and I'm going to just peek a little bit of the second color in if the petal is big enough. You can use the other petals to kind of measure how far it might go up. Okay, that's a dark blue. I'm going to use a different one, or use my purple. Still coloring away from the middle of the flower, up and down. See how it's kind of like the same height as that pink that's next to it. Color the other color. And if you want to turn your paper as you do that, it might be easier for coloring up and down. Using a scrap paper also might be good because as you color to the edge, you'll go off the paper. And you don't want to get your table messy. Mine's my art table, so it's allowed to get messy. All right, so I'm going to do my last two petals. Just remember, as you're doing your petals, have your color, one color at the bottom, one color at the top. Make sure that you are coloring in the direction away from the middle, up and down straight lines. Outline your petals. I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to put on some music for the second one because it's the same process. Just make sure you're trying to overlap in the middle and that the two areas of color have their own space as well. And we'll talk once you're done coloring. At this point, you could do half of the coloring this week and do the second half of the coloring next week. It takes a long time to blend crayons together. So don't feel like you have to do it all in 1 week because you have 2 weeks to complete this assignment and the background is going to be fairly simple. So if you're not done coloring, pause and then come back when you are. So now we're going to do the middles of your flowers. And I want you to choose a line design to do it in a darker color, and then with a lighter color, you're going to color it over. So I'll do the yellow after, and I'm going to use a darker color, and I'm just going to do circles. You can do zigzags, you could do swirlies, but I'm going to use a few warm colors actually for mine. You don't have to use warm colors for yours. And I'm going to make some line designs in the middle. Maybe you want to do hearts or stars. Then I'm going to take a lighter color, which is yellow, and I'm going to color over it, kind of blending the lines a little bit. You can still see the design because I used the dark color first. On my other one, I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to use different colors. I use that blue, which is lighter, and then this darker purple. For mine, I decided to do the same kind of texture, so that way it looked a little more unified. I'm going to go over it with the lighter color. Now, we've used all the colors of the rainbow in this, or at least I have, or we've been talking about using all the colors of the rainbow. What we haven't used are neutral colors. Now, neutral colors are your grays, browns, tans, blacks, and white. And what we're going to do to create some contrast is that your background, you're going to do line designs or patterns or textures that are in neutral colors. Now, you do not have to do this. This is just a suggestion. But I'm going to do this because I feel like it will give my flowers more contrast or make them pop out more. So you can decide what kind of designs you want to do in your background. Use whatever lines you want to. But I'm going to do some kind of simple designs. I'm not going to really, for me, color anything in because I want to keep the emphasis on my flowers. Emphasis meaning that they're the things that pop out the most. So if you do use color and you do color things in, maybe choose one color or two colors so that way the flowers still pop out. Here's another little example of using neutral lines. I'm going to put that at the top so you guys can see it. But decide how you're going to fill in your background that helps your flowers still stand out. And I'm going to put some music on as we design and color, and I'll talk to you in a second. I hope you enjoyed creating this card today. Remember that you do not have to do this in 1 week. I would split it up because blending does take a lot of time. If it didn't end up a card, that is fine too, but it's sometimes nice to create artwork that we can both have to look at, but also use for maybe future events.